Hi, we are here with Leanna with the Naturally Flawless Beauty, right? And then you also have Naturally Flawless Education, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I'm so excited that you're here, and we actually met at a brunch.
Yeah, we put a brunch together.
Yep, we put a brunch together. And
there's more to that story, but yeah.
So we met with you, and then Joella was there too.
Yep.
And we were talking, and we started talking. I'm like, I realize I have no idea who you are.
Who is this person?
Who are you? And so we were like briefly talking about business, and I was like, okay, but what's your story? Like, tell me your story. And so you told me your story. It was very interesting how you broke into the industry. So if you don't mind telling the story and telling, you know, about how long and what it's kind of progressed to now, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
So at the time when I guess when I first started being a makeup artist, I really didn't have any plans to be a makeup artist.
Okay.
I was actually going to school for nursing. I wanted to get all of my prereqs for my bachelor's and then to get a degree, because at this point I was thinking I have to have a degree. My sister was a nurse, and I was like, well, that would always, you know, work for me. I could always find a job doing that. And at that time I was also a massage therapist, working as a massage therapist since 2006. And I was working at a spa and salon there in College Station, and it wasn't one of the reasons why I actually started working there. They reached out to me to do massages, and I started doing massages for them, and then come to find out they did weddings. So they did hair and makeup for weddings. And she, at the beginning of 2012, asked me, hey, do you want to do makeup? And wasn't anything that I even ever thought of, you know. And prior to that, I'll just pre-reference by saying, like, my family's very artistic. My mom's an artist. My dad had a leather shop, and he built saddles and hand tooled everything by hand. So having all that experience, I was very drawn to the creative side of things. And I dabbled in a lot of different things. I tried to make jewelry. I tried to make soap. Nothing really stuck to the point where I was just like very happy with it. It all became a chore. And so so I let it go, and I just continued down the path of finding something that I was okay with for like work. So when she said, do you want to do makeup? I was like, well, that's something I've never even thought of. Yeah, of course I do. You know, I feel like anybody's response would be, of course, although not everybody's response would be. And so I started in bridal. She primarily did airbrush, and so I started by learning airbrush. And then I just kind of ran with it. Like, I feel like at the end of the first year was when I started going out on my own, doing classes, and I started with like a meetup group. I don't know if y'all ever did meetup groups or anything. They had like an online, it was called meetup.com. Photographers would get on there and they would start groups, and they would find makeup artists, they would find models, and then you would meet up to these shoots so that you could get portfolio work.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it was all free. I think by the end, when I started doing it, they started paying the makeup artist a little bit just for like supplies. But really, I think it was 100% worth it. I don't really know of anything right now that...
There's a couple, but like you have... It's... Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like styled shoots, you know, that we kind of partake in. But
I still do those.
You kind of set it up yourself. This was really interesting because there may be 10 photographers, and so then you're getting 10 different viewpoints of your work.
Awesome.
That's what I love. Yeah, I love doing things like that.
They do that style
really
shoots
good.
across America. But you have to pay for it, I think. I don't know. That like it's a whole thing. Anyways.
So
Besides the point.
So I started doing that, and mainly more because I was more interested in the artistic more than like the bridal necessarily. I liked bridal. I've always loved bridal. Really, that's our moneymaker as a makeup artist, I feel.
Is. Yeah, it's our week in, week out.
Yes.
Constant.
And then I started dabbling in this, and this was just getting me to like practice and feel more comfortable with using colors and things like that. And I would say by the end of the second year is when I started body paint.
Okay.
And I kept kind of putting this wall up saying, you need to take a class. You need to take a class. Like, you got to take a class.
Create, yeah.
Before you start, before you buy anything. And then finally I was just like, no, that's just preventing you from doing it. So I can't really remember exactly what I did. I think I might have put out like a post saying I need a model. And a girl reached out to me that this is the first time we met. She very quickly after that became like my muse for body paint.
Nice.
She
And
grew up in
it all
Houston.
started with putting a post out that you need a model.
I think so. I think that's
that
what
happens with us a lot. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm gonna change, this direction, or I need to practice this. Let me get models, and so you get it in, and you get the content, you get the experience.
Yes.
You just kind of hash it out. And that's the
Yes.
best way, just to jump.
Yeah,
Get in there.
you just got to jump.
Yeah.
So she came over. I didn't know her from Adam.
Really?
She came over to my house, and I felt bad because I was just like, it was very like easy though.
Okay.
She made it very easy. She was very comfortable to be around, and I can't remember how long that first session was, but it had to be at least 3 hours. And I just
Really?
painted her from
Damn.
her chest up, just to see what I could do, And it came out amazing. She
Yeah.
was just like thrilled, and
Wow, I look like a different
yeah.
person. Yeah.
What was the look that you went for?
Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
So I was going for like a very colorful, like Bride of Frankenstein. And actually I was doing this for a specific reason. I really wanted to go to, I think it's called Cinema Makeup School in California. And they had a competition where you had to make a character and you could enter the competition. So
cool.
I chose Bride of Frankenstein, and I was choosing a model. I did the whole outfit and everything. I ended up making it in the top 10.
Damn, that's awesome.
It was really good, other than I didn't have a huge following, and it was by votes.
I
So I think I made it to like maybe 8 or 9, and then I was pretty much out because I didn't have like this huge following.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that was my goal. And that became my first body paint that I did from head to toe. It was just, I'm still in love with that look today.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that it was Sarah that did it. She was just amazing. Like, she set for like 8 or 9 hours, y'all. Like,
Wow.
I did her hair and everything, like sprayed her hair black. Like,
That's amazing.
Oh wow.
so much stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit inside, and as far as like how I kind of started, kind of how I pushed myself into doing more, and then everything just kind of started rolling forward from there.
So were you still working in the salon and just doing bridal makeup for the salon? Is that what it was?
I worked there for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And then I decided to go out on my own after that.
Okay. And from there, did you just solely focus on makeup, or when did hair come into the picture?
I guess maybe when I started doing that, when I started doing like creatures and things like that, I needed to do the hair. Sometimes I would have a hairstylist come and do it, but
Finish the look, yeah.
I'm still, even to today, I wouldn't call myself a stylist. Like, I'm not that great at hair.
Like, makeup is my calling, and we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
I want to be
okay,
better, but I
yeah.
always say the girls are much better than me. Like, when people ask, I'm like, I can do some curls, some like half up a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I
Yeah.
can't specifically like be like, you want that exact look, I'll recreate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So for the body paint, tell me, some different ways that you've used it over the years, because from there, I guess that kind of lit a fire in you just a little bit, or like, oh, I can really do this, because it's very creative. You have like the creative, call or the authority on that. So however things are going to turn out. So what have been some of your most famous or favorite looks?
Favorite looks? Actually, one of my favorites is the one I just did, was the skeleton mermaid. Like,
That's fine.
that's like putting together two of my favorite things, a mermaid and a skeleton.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably one of my favorite looks, other than the Bride of Frankenstein. The very first one was actually one of my favorites. But just realizing when I first did that first test, I was like, oh, you can do this. Like, it's not, just something that is a far away dream. Like, you can do it, and you can do it now. Now, I did eventually, I think it was the following year, I took a class from an artist. Joel. Joel is his name, and I can't remember his last name. It starts with a C, but his work is called Badass Body Paint, and he is amazing. Like, if you ever get the chance to take a class from him, because he doesn't live here. He came down to Dallas and did, I think, a weekend class, like a 3-day class. I could only even make one. Like, I couldn't make the other classes, but just the one I made was just, like, amazing.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
When, like, someone has that much talent, you're just like, what?
Yes.
Are you even real? Like,
And he's been around forever. Forever. And he's just been doing this forever, and he knows, like, the ins and outs and everything.
Does
and
he just do body paint?
Mainly, he does prosthetics, too.
Yeah.
But his thing is really, like, creating head to toe. So he won't necessarily use fabric. He may, like, make the prosthetic, like, the fabric, and then paint it. So then the full body head to toe character.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's so cool. So I'm sure he works on, like, film and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done any films or shows or music videos or anything like that? Or is it just more like Halloween?
As far as that stuff goes, no, I have not. I did get paid to do, like, I forget what it's called, promotional modeling type stuff, where you, like, paint stuff on them, like, for a brand.
Yeah.
So I've done that before.
That's cool.
And most of the other stuff, as far as, like, getting paid to do, would be, like, personal. I had, like, someone pay for their girlfriend to be painted for a photo shoot for their birthday, you know, stuff like that. But not really much commercial stuff. I was approached for a few things, but they never came through as far as, like, the body paint goes.
Okay.
I've done regular makeup, like commercials and things like that, but no movies or anything yet.
Not yet.
Very different.
It is. Yeah. And it's all about, like, who you know. And
How you get in,
so.
get your foot in there.
Yeah.
Well, and then that most of that stuff is unionized, so you have to be part of, like, a union to even, like, step foot on set.
That too.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it's just very different.
Different world, for sure.
Yeah.
So when doing body paint, I've had friends that have attempted body paint before, and it's like
Cracking, transferring.
horrible. You know, it's everywhere. Like
Sweating up.
yeah, they're you know certain. Well, you can definitely see where the body like has more oil glands versus not. You know, like under the breast or armpits or you know anything that moves really has more oil there.
Or can crack or
Yeah, and so so what are some tips on like okay, this is you know the brand that works for me or you know
Technique.
I don't want to get in too much into your process.
Oh no, that's
but-
fine. I don't mind. I think that there's a few things, and maybe because I took that class early on, I had kind of practiced with a few brands. I got online, like researched, and was like, okay, what's the best brand? You know, European Body Art's really good. And really, like in all of these circumstances, there's different bases, just like there are in regular makeup. So there's like alcohol base, there's like cream base, there's water base. And I think at the project that you're doing, you have to decide, like, what base do I need? Like, does this need to last for, like, 2 seconds to take a photo? Or does this need to last, like, all day?
Yeah.
And then to a certain extent, like, especially with men, because I did a body paint where I painted, like, a machinery, like, down his arm and up on his head. They're going to sweat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean,
Bad.
you can put stuff on there to kind of help, but like if they sweat bad, I think they could sweat through anything, really.
Yeah.
So we were just like, oh, get the picture quickly.
Hurry, it's gonna like start melting off.
Yeah. But I would say Tag body paint's good. Diamond Effects is another one that's really good for like body paint, like water base. I know there's another brand I'm forgetting.
Isn't alcohol based like super bulletproof compared to?
It would
the
be.
other ones?
It's very uncomfortable, you know, skin, because it's very dry. Another thing to note is that with body paint, you cannot completely cover someone's skin. You need to have, I think, a 1 by 1 inch unpainted, because their skin has to breathe. So you could kill somebody if you 100% body painted them. So that is good to know. Like,
That's
wow.
crazy.
I did not realize
do
that.
not 100%.
Well, it's like the bottom of their feet, you
Your
know.
skin has to breathe. Yeah.
That's scary. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think some other brands. Pro Air is really, really good. That's one that Joel used for the Badass Body Paint. I think he is a, like, what do they call it? Like a rep or whatever for the company, or uses their products and promotes it because he loves it so much. I think he used the Diamond FX for the base coat. But it's a layering process, just like regular makeup, to make it
crazy.
smooth, to make it like come out the way you want it to.
Do you prep the skin anyway, or you just start like by cleansing the skin and that's it?
I would say,
I would think the oils would be what breaks
Yeah.
it down the most.
yeah, as long as the body doesn't have oil on it or like lotion or anything, you could tell the model like prior, like don't put any lotion, like wash like normal, don't put any
Hair
like
dry. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, don't put any like extra stuff on. That way, like as long as it's like dry, it's fine. It's fine. I don't really prep it additionally unless, say, we were doing like the head and it was going to sweat. Maybe I would want to put some kind of sweat barrier on or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's also powders that have deodorant in them.
Okay.
So for like under the arms and stuff, you want to set it really good. If they're going to sweat, that can hold the paint better.
Okay. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
It's a whole
So-
other world.
I know, it's crazy.
My-
And how intricate you can be, you know, as
Very.
far as the details.
Very
Like
something
3D.
Yeah, something I will say recently that I discovered too. Have you heard of Made by Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a European brand.
Uh-huh.
Great brand. Great brand. I don't know necessarily what he meant his color cases to be used for, other than fun stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But I've been using body paint, and it's been doing great.
Really?
And it goes a long way. It's an interesting like formula because it's like a cream, but it dries down and it does not move.
Really?
So and a lot of makeup artists use it for like liner and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And for those cases where they want it to not budge.
Cool.
But it has been performing very well. I
Really?
feel. Mhm.
Awesome.
Are they paints or like cream?
It's a cream. It's a cream, and it's a little testy, but like
Yeah, but once you understand a product
Yeah.
though, like you're golden.
yeah, when you're comfortable with it,
And, like,
it has
very-
mobility.
That's
like,
nice.
Like
Oh,
even
that's
though it
cool.
dries down, like if you were to like move your neck or something, it has mobility. So that's
It
good.
doesn't like crack open and
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So that's
I've only dabbled in the Mayron water activated paints and like they crack. And I'm like, damn.
Maro's not bad.
But they're not like
It's not the best. Maybe it doesn't
Yeah.
quite have all the pigment, but you can
Layer.
make do with it.
So, how much would you charge somebody? How do you
like,
do
"Oh,
your
wow."
pricing for something like this? You know?
Well, I don't do it as much. I've been distracted a lot by the bridal stuff, but I would say my pricing isn't as high as probably it should be because I love it so much. And if somebody comes to me and is like, I want to pay you for it,
like,
I'm like,
yes, I'll work for free. Yeah.
yeah, I'll do it. Let me just think, what will they pay for this? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what I would want to charge. You would want to charge by the hour
Yeah.
or like, whatever you're comfortable with your rate. And then a lot of times though, I'll price it out just kind of on the look, like for Halloween looks. So like, do you want your face painted? Do you want your neck painted? Do you want
Yep.
your chest painted? Do you want your arms? And then just add additional cost for those areas because that's going to be additional time and additional product.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
I think that's how most people base like body looks. Usually how
Yeah.
I mean, I see it by face, neck, chest, and then arms.
Yes.
I mean, it's rare. Most people are gonna want their whole body.
Whole body. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're usually covered in like an outfit, so it's like hands, chest, neck, face.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. I don't know. Like,
Full body would be like a commitment.
that's a
Yeah.
commitment.
That's a commitment. Like it's a full day commitment.
You're like Heidi Klum at that point. You're just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so then from there you went, you started, like you said, bridal. So you have that. That's like probably your first love was the body paint. Very creative. And then, of course, bridal has its moments where it can be creative, but it's
Yes.
pretty standard.
It's pretty standard. I feel like back in the day, like, when I first started, there wasn't as much as there is now. There's a lot
When did you start?
to
You
learn.
said
2012.
2012. Okay, yeah.
There's a lot to learn. So,
Yeah.
In bridal?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to back then. Back then it was
Yeah.
just like, sit in my chair, get done, like, you're
Right.
done. There wasn't like
Not. Yeah. It's
50,
intense now.
50 things you could do at every step, right? But now it's like, because of social media, people talking about everything that you could do, and then clients see that and they're like, well, I want to do this crazy thing I saw online. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Then you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Well, but I thought
Um,
there's like a fine line between like, okay, this is what the internet is showing because they want to sell products, right? Versus, trust me,
Reality.
right? Like, yeah, you could do these 14 steps, but do you need to? Not really.
Right.
Like, your makeup's still gonna look really good, and it's still gonna like I've, not to like I don't know. There's to get stuck in that, like, okay, well, this is what's happening now, this is what's relevant, and like, okay, let's buy like the hypest thing right now, let's buy the most popular thing right now, and you're like, do I really need all this stuff? Because anytime I like buy into that, I'm like, I use it 2 or 3 times and it sits in my kit, and then I eventually throw it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me just get back to the basics of makeup.
Yeah.
And
and have like your tried and true in your kit, and that's it.
And I'm
because
not
truly you're creating timeless looks. You don't want to be like, oh, that was definitely 2002, or whatever. You want it to be timeless.
It's hard to be like shiny object, like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really fun. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what that's
But like you can do that and create that for the most part with like what you currently have in your kit.
Definitely, definitely, I agree.
So it's like, especially new artists, like, do not get stuck on like, oh my god, I have to have this product because my client asked me about this. Like, at the end of the day, it's about how they look and feel, not about like what you've used.
Well, and too, I've even said, if my client has a specific request to like, oh, bring the palette in, I'll put it on you. You know, I'll do it however you want to do it.
I've had
but
that
I don't have to go
times.
and buy it and then never use it again.
Right.
If they're like, I am obsessed with this foundation, this is the only foundation I want to use, I'm like, perfect. Do you know your shade? Cool.
Yeah.
You can bring it.
Yeah.
Now, unless it's something I know I want and I'm like going to use, sure. But
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if it's like a very specific request, they already own it.
Yeah. Just bring it.
Just bring it.
I got
It makes
you.
it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's just different from now to back then. So whenever I started on my own, I started just under my name, and I had a few people that were working with me, and it wasn't until a client came and was a request, and they said, we're going to go hire a team just because we have a lot of people and we just need to hire a team. Like, we think that's going to work better for us. And I was like, whoa.
I have a team.
I have a team. I was not advertised as a team necessarily. And so that's when it became important for me to rebrand. And that was in 2016 to rebrand to Naturally Flawless.
Yeah.
And then start with the team. I think we started with about maybe like 6 or 7 girls.
That's a lot, though.
By that point when I rebranded, I had built up to there. And then now we fluctuate between 15 to 20 girls.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So when growing your team, I know there's always growing pains.
Yes.
We talk about that a lot. I'm like, oh, this is another one of those growing pains. But so what in your company would you consider some of the growing pains that you learned the most from, and how you do business? Like, how did it, change how you do business today?
I think when you realize that you need to change something, if you can change it in a quicker manner, I'm always dragging my feet. Like, I've gotten better over the years to be like, okay, no, this needs to just change right now.
Yeah.
But if you can just not drag your feet and be very professional and open about it, especially with your team members, I think in the very beginning, before you even start, if you're gonna have a team, you really need to sit down and you really need to think about everything. You need to maybe do a mentorship, maybe talk to people that have teams, figure out where a good starting point is. Because if you start with, 5 roles or something, and then you want to add 5 more, then the team's going to be like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm not
change. I don't like change.
Yeah,
so,
I hate it.
Yeah, change is a big
really
one.
do.
And even if it's for the better, and you really, if you're going to change something, you have to sit down and you have to talk to them and be like, hey, this is for the better. This is not to punish you. This is not to be negative or be controlling. This is just to make sure that we're covered, so that they know. But
well, and two, I think it goes through their mind. They're like, oh, I'm not going to get as many events. Or if they start not getting as many events, or they start declining events, and they're like, wait, it's because you brought in other people. And you're like, no, actually, you declined them at first.
Yeah,
no,
that's been an obstacle. That's been an obstacle.
I know.
That's been a
I'm
real
like,
obstacle.
actually, if you look at the numbers,
Yeah.
Like, I see that a lot. Like, when someone gets busy with their own clients, or they're working for other companies, and they start declining a bunch of events, I'm like, okay, noted. Got it. You're busy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring some. I have to protect me and my business.
That's right.
So it's you're my first priority until you're not.
Yeah.
And you choose where you are in the priority list based on your availability and your skill set.
Yeah.
I think
and
that's
what they want to do and their
yeah.
goals and whatever. But I think you're right on the communication aspect of
Yeah.
it. It's just very important to be on the same page and then have that open line of communication to where
Yes.
you're like, hey, my heart is to make it a win-win.
Mhm.
You know, it's nothing harsh or ugly or underhanded because we see a lot of that in this industry.
Mhm.
So we're not partaking in that. We are still on the same team. However, due to XYZ, you're not accepting
Right.
events or whatever, we do have to make sure those events are covered because our business doesn't stop when you stop.
Right. Exactly.
So having that understanding is so important. And then I think people don't really appreciate that until they start doing their own events and they're like, oh, this is,
Yeah. Yes.
that's how that works, you
Yeah.
know?
Now I get it.
I get it, yeah.
And then they feel
So-
bad. They're like, oh crap.
They come back. Hopefully, they come back if they're humble enough, you know, and keep that relationship there. But so now you have 15 to 20 girls.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you manage that? How do you keep up culture and keep
Yeah.
everybody on the same page?
It's been very hard, actually, I will say.
Yeah.
There's some things that I think that we can implement to make it better. I mean, always.
Always,
We can
yeah.
always change things.
Mhm.
But because I feel like our team is made up primarily of moms and people are super busy and just don't have the extra time, it makes it really hard for me to be like, hey, let's meet up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's have lunch sometime. Let's do this or let's
I
do
think
that.
These last 2 years, it's like my team used to like get together, and now I'm like, we have not.
We can't even get
'Cause-
together for an in-person meeting.
No.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Even Zoom, I'm like, we can't
Yeah.
even like Google Meet, nothing. Like they're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I'm only available for this 30 minutes, and they're like, well, I'm only available this 30 minutes. And I'm like, what? The? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like impossible.
Could have been an email.
Yeah,
Yeah, like here's the email.
That's where we're like, I
So,
hate going
yeah.
to meetings. I'm like, this could have been an email or
Yeah.
a text.
sure.
So you want it to be personal and
Mhm.
you want it to feel good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
getting there is the hardest thing.
Mhm.
That is a stop a little bit.
Mhm.
So what do you think that you've implemented that has been like you're like, yes, this works. Everyone loves this. As far as like keeping your team happy and like around and educated.
Well, I will say just, I think it was maybe last year, the year before, we implemented like, we have this like form that they can fill out to be like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Kind of tell us like the things that they like or they don't like as far as like bookings go and stuff like that. But the only problem with that was once they filled out that form, you know, to say, well, I don't want to go upstairs or I don't want to work weddings outside of town or, you know, then they don't get booked for those weddings.
Mhm.
And then they're like, well, why am I not getting as many bookings? And you're like, well,
you told me X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
this is what, you know, we're going by what you wrote in your form.
Mhm.
And, you know, honoring your
Your wishes.
boundaries,
Yeah.
your wishes, you know, all the things. And then they don't see the booking behind the scenes. So they don't see, well, maybe we booked 10 out of town weddings last month,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
couldn't do any.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do them
Because you limited yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now just being honest about that and telling them, and then some of the ones that had put restrictions, like letting them know, well, we couldn't book you for these 5 weddings because there were stairs. So do you want us to reach out to you and say, hey,
Yeah.
we have this booking. It is upstairs. Do you want to do it?
Mhm.
So now we're starting to do things like that.
That's smart.
Good. Yeah.
Like just
Give
being
them the
like, hey,
opportunity.
FYI, these are the obstacles on this event. Do you want to take it or do you not?
Yeah.
You know?
Give them
Yeah.
the option because they might be like, how do we eat this week? You know?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think extending that is it's pretty good. And that just shows like you as a leader, like you're still putting it out there, but you're also cognitive of like
Mhm.
what, like you said, their boundaries.
Yes.
You know? That's good. Okay, so then you have your team, and so you have your suites, right?
Mhm.
So it's like a salon studio type thing, or do you do
Mhm.
booth rent? Do you do commission? How does that work?
It's pretty much rental property for me.
Yeah.
So people come in and they rent as a stylist and they do, you know, it's their own business. So it's kind of, I don't know if you've heard of like Sola. It's similar
Yeah.
to Sola. You
Yeah.
pretty much come out in and operate your own business. And then we have a couple of small areas in there where we do styling and makeup.
Okay.
Technically right now we need to expand. It's just because of the market and the
Yeah.
area is so expensive. I haven't been able to.
Mm.
It's kind of been a stop. So I'm hoping within the next year or so we'll be able to get there for sure.
Good. So you have like hair washing stations
Mhm.
and all of that. So it's
Mhm.
like full blown salon suites that they're.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like cut color style.
The rooms have their own basins and everything. So the girls technically don't even have to come out of their room for the like salon suite area. There is an open area that we utilize, and then also I have 3 stations in there where stylists can utilize and rent, and there's a basin in there too.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then,
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
What obstacles do you have with that?
Oh, there are obstacles. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about the obstacles.
Well, okay, first off, what do you think that you've done to attract the right type of artist to come and be, because like some people are not reliable, or some people just don't do good hair, and it's like that reflects on you because it's like you're the owner, right? And so they're like, this salon. You're like, well, that's not this salon. That's this business inside of this salon. Sometimes I think because people don't know.
Yeah.
They just see a name on the building and they're like, well, this place sucks. Well, it's this business,
Right.
not this
Good
place.
I
do see that a lot.
I'll say when I started, I didn't advertise that much.
Yeah.
Because I really
Word of
wanted
mouth.
it to be kind of word of mouth and like people telling me, okay, well, this person's okay to rent. Like, we trust them.
Yeah.
And so I've been very fortunate that
great.
the girls that are in there, or obviously we started with the girls that are on the team that still work during the week. So
Nice.
they've rented rooms.
Nice.
And then through them, other people came and rented and are very trustworthy, been there forever. On top of that, we've had a few come and go here and there that were either just not real serious or,
It happens.
life. But nothing too
Yeah.
bad, I would say. I think just really trusting the people that are already with you. I know it could be harder in Houston because there's just this mass of people, right, that you're trying to weed through. So I think in that circumstance, I would have a very thorough intake
Sure.
with whoever comes in
Yeah.
and
Like an interview
background check. Yeah, for sure.
like a background check too.
Yeah, shoot. I would think in Houston, yes.
Yeah.
100%. I haven't done
The
it.
communities are different.
Yeah.
Where you're at versus here.
But definitely.
Yeah.
So some obstacles. The fight of the salon against the team for space. Because really the salon didn't even start without, it wouldn't have been a thing without the team. And so sometimes the stylists in there have to be reminded, okay, well, this wouldn't even be a thing for you to be able to rent here unless the team was a thing and needed it. So you gotta like give and take. So there's
do
there's
they get
been a lot
mad
of give
when
and
like the
take.
team like is doing trials and stuff like in their space?
It's a little bit tight. So,
I see.
but just everybody has to respect everybody's space. And then with the salon, we've had battles over hair dryers.
That is so funny.
The dryers, the big dryers.
Oh, the ones you sit under?
Yes, because technically they should have them in their room.
Uh-huh.
But I have allowed them to have them out of the room, like a few of them, and then they kind of like fight over them. So we've had that
So
recently.
it just seems like you've outgrown your space. Like
Yes,
you just need more
definitely.
space, more equipment. Yeah.
Well, couldn't they get the
The wall mounted ones are awesome.
that or like the mobile ones? They have mobile hair dryers, right?
On a
Like,
roller.
Yeah, wouldn't you be able to invest in their
could.
own business and do that?
They could, but they're
Okay.
going to do as much as possible, and I have to. I think,
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're like, this is one of our amenities, but like there comes a point if you're using it for all of your clients, like girl, invest in that. You need that for your business in order
Yeah.
to like provide an excellent service.
Yeah.
Well, another thing to mention is, especially with with you starting yours, is make sure you have the correct outlets put in and the wattage.
I
and
went
the
through. Oh my
separator.
god, so
yes,
so much.
because that becomes an issue as you're growing
blow
and
drying.
it changes.
Yeah.
To making sure you have the adequate wattage for even just those dryers. Because
Did you custom build your space or no?
So the space started out as it was like a therapy pool.
Oh.
Back in the day in this building, and the people that owned the building filled it in, and they were ready to build something there.
Oh.
And they took me there and were like, "This is the space we think would be great for you. Like this is what we envision." And it happened that they were just envisioning it as like a regular salon, and I was like, "No, I want suites."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, really? Because that'll work better for out for us too. Like, let's build suites." And so
Yeah.
they built it out for that.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
So it worked out for both of us.
Yeah, I did it's crazy. I'm excited, but it's a lot.
Are you doing suites?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have 3 suites, and then I'm gonna have an open concept.
Yeah. So it's
So-
similar.
But I'm not gonna do any. I think we'll see. My vision is to not do cut and color. or no chemical. I'm okay with like haircuts, but I want to keep the chemical services out of it because when you walk into like a bridal suite, the energy is different.
It's different.
Right? And when you walk into a salon, it's very
different.
the vibes are completely different, and I don't want to get away from that aspect of it, but I know that there's a need for what I'm creating for cut and color. And so I'm like, who knows what the future holds, but for now I'm going to like stay true to the vision, niche down, and just focus on what I want to do.
Yeah, if you have suites in there, I mean, it could be for anything. It doesn't have to be for styling.
I only have one suite open. Like everything else is filled. So I'm like, we'll see what happens with that.
It could be
like
permanent makeup.
Space.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Really.
So we'll see. Whatever the universe wants to throw at me, we'll see what happens. Because again, I've had multiple people like reach out, and I was like, I just don't think this is a good fit.
It's good that like, you realize that and you say
I don't think so. Because like we're just not jiving with the vibes here. This isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, why have them waste all their money and time putting, decorating, buying all this furniture, and like moving and telling all their clients, and it like not work out in like 4 or 5 months, and then they have to like do it all again. I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that.
It's not.
So I'm like, let me just save you the headache, and like, we'll just stop this here instead of later.
You also want people in there; they're gonna stay.
Yeah.
And they're going to stay for a while because then you're going to have to go in and you're going to change the room for the next person.
Yeah,
all the things.
costs. Yeah.
There's cost associated with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. It's just different. It's just different than what I've been doing a little bit.
The other obstacle, which you won't have to deal with, is the landlord.
Yeah, no. Oh my God. My landlord now is, it's a joke. Let's just be honest. A joke. And I'm like, okay, I'm so done with you. So done. I was like this close to buying the property that I'm at now, and I was like, you can't even like respond to an email, so I'm not gonna buy this property.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went on vacation and just like everything stopped. And I was like, what? That's not how the business goes. Like, you can't just stop everything when you
Put
leave.
someone there
manager,
to talk
like,
to you.
something. Yeah, it was crazy. So, nightmares. I don't know. Like, has it been crazy with a landlord? Did they like change your pricing on you? Like,
okay, well, let's get
crazy.
into it.
I'm like, ooh, business.
So, we've always had issues with the AC. And don't get me wrong, the AC's not old. It was near AC. It's just I feel like they put in the wrong kind. It's water fed. And so that has given them more issues. That was what was in the building to start with. It's an older building. So we've always had issues with the AC.
Like too hot?
Yes, like it stopping or not working properly. Over the entire first 5 years. I mean, that was the first like lease. Like,
girl,
and then
crazy.
every year dealing with it. And me just like holding my breath,
Like, is it gonna work today?
Is somebody gonna like leave?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
or like anything. But thankfully the girls have like supported me and been very patient with that. What else have we have a little bit of water coming in here and there on the floor.
No, girl.
And they're still not fixing it 100%. They always, another issue we have is they always blame the AC on blow dryers.
What?
And I'm like, no. I was like, it doesn't work to start with. And so it may not be super uncomfortable when nobody's in there, but it's not working. And so then when you add hair dryers, then it gets much harder.
Yeah.
And that's when it's unbearable.
Yeah.
But that's not the cause.
Crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so what else did we deal with?
Man.
I know there's been something else. Oh, well, so I ended up, they were like, oh yeah, we have this space for you. Like, this is right at like signing my next contract with them. We have this other space for you. We're going to build it out for you. Like, brought it to me. I didn't ask. I just told them that I was looking, and I did look elsewhere, and I was about to sign elsewhere too, but that's a whole nother story. So then they're like, we have this space for you. And I was like, okay, cool. We talked about it. We even talked about what size the rooms would be, like change the layout of like, cause it's just like wide open space.
Yeah.
And it's in the building next door, and there would be no issues with AC. There would be no issues with water. There'd be no issues, period, other than we had to go to the second floor, which is fine. It's not really an issue.
Yeah.
And then they just stopped talking about it after I signed my new lease. So the deal was I was going to sign the lease at the place we're at, and then within a year we were going to move over, and it was going to change.
Was that in writing?
No.
Girl, they got you.
They did.
That's fucked
So yeah, so then they kind of caught
I
me.
hate shifty people.
They caught me in, and then
That's
yeah,
nice.
so now they won't really talk about it, and they were like, "Well, we just think it's going to be too expensive to do, so
Oh,
my
sorry,
gosh.
what?
we'll just look at for other options."
Can you just
for
like
or-
breach a contract and diff out?
I think probably eventually, just because of all the things they
Because y'all
have not
had a verbal
addressed.
agreement.
Yeah.
You know?
I wouldn't do it on that, but more of like
Things
this has
that
been
have-
going on
yeah.
for 5 years and it's continued. And you
Yeah,
still
no,
haven't
that's
fixed it.
bullshit.
With the AC,
Yeah.
your clients complain, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Girl, just talk to a realtor. They'll know. But someone that specializes, I have a really good one. She specializes in like commercial leases. And she could easily handle that for you.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be fine, like if we find a place. But the hardest thing right now is
Finding a
just
place.
that the area is like double, if not triple, like what it needs to be for like all the newer places, and some of the places that are just maybe not newer, but like not super old. They're just charging way too much, and then we got triple net and everything like
It's a
added
lot.
on top. It's so much. It's ridiculous.
And that's why everyone's like complaining about like how expensive salon suites are. And I'm like, do you guys, you have no idea.
what the
Like
yeah
you're
cost
not
is.
making much profit, even charging what you're charging. Like there's not much profit there.
Oh yeah,
People
they
are
don't
like,
understand.
I'm like, girl, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, because a lot of them don't own houses, so they don't understand what
Taxes,
all
all the things. Yeah.
the costs associated with owning a structure. You know,
Yeah.
let alone a commercial structure. It's
Definitely,
crazy.
definitely. But I could not solely survive on that. Like, I
The
make
income
I
from-
make a
yeah.
good amount of money because I have like this tiered system of like me working, then my team working, then the salon, then like we're going into education. So it's like at each tier
Multiple
I'm bringing
streams, yeah.
in more money. So then that brings my monthly what I earn higher. But I couldn't just. The only thing I could slowly rely on is just me working.
Well, you're your own best asset.
Yeah.
You're like, I know that I'm going to do it,
Yep.
So, okay, so you mentioned going into education. So I've
Yeah.
seen some posts, and I love the things that you're doing. So tell me a little bit about that whole process and getting yourself into education and where you're kind of looking where it's going to go, that type of thing.
I will say with education, it is a lot more than you think. You really have to get used to a lot of things, and especially I think most creative people are very introverted, right? Me including. Like I've become a little bit more extrovert over the years, just being a business owner, but it's a lot and it's in your face. So it's a lot to get used to. I've been talking about it for over a year, if not 2 years, doing the educational
I feel like we
space.
all are like, okay, I could teach.
Yeah.
But you're like, how do you transition from that
To
to
that. And
Yeah.
it is a huge transition, I
it's
feel.
very different.
So it's taken me, I would say, at least a year to get comfortable, like in front of a camera and stuff, because I was very stiff and just
Yeah.
like thinking it had to be very, I guess, in my mind, everything has to be so factual and like, da, 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 which is boring.
Yeah.
Can't just be boring.
Yeah.
So I actually a year ago started recording videos with someone that was kind of new to the video game. I paid her to do it and everything, and we did it for about 6 to 7 months. So I have all these videos, but I'm very stiff. It's not very good. So like I'm in the process of like re-recording everything and like really like toning it up, making it look better. The only issue with that is I'm doing it myself and I don't have time to edit.
Yeah.
And I felt like the stuff that she had edited prior wasn't terrible, but it was from a viewpoint of a non-makeup artist. And so she cut some things out that I was just like, well, crap, now I have to go back and like re-edit that. That's going to cost me more time. And so I just kind of like sent some of those videos out to like the team members. I was like, okay, well, it's not trash, but like this is something that you can utilize to kind of up your game a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll be coming out with like the good goods in another year or so, but definitely taken much longer than I thought to get where I want to be.
It takes time. It
A
takes time and
lot.
expertise. Yeah.
And I will say, for like people kind of starting out or like just wanting to up their game as like a makeup artist, like getting out there and like finding other people that are going to help you do that. So just maybe in the regular makeup realm, like I don't know if y'all have heard of is it Christina Gaspers? She has like a very large online academy and like
Oh, I think we talked about
huge
this at brunch.
Facebook group. which is amazing. I'm still in there. I may be about to leave that one just because I feel like I'm spending that extra money for it, unless I decide to get in there and do the hair videos.
Yeah.
You know, because she has all these hair videos and makeup videos.
Nice.
But that's a great one for artists, and it's a big supportive community, huge supportive community. And then the one that I found recently, which I did a mentorship with, I was in her first mentorship for education, was by Kaylee.
Okay.
And she's in England?
She got the red hair? No.
No, she's just short hair, but super, super sweet. Love her to death. She is amazing for more business. So, like, if you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to start on your own, like the business side of things,
That's
she
great.
has all of that in there for her membership. And then she has trainings for, like, being a new artist and trying to get all your stuff together. And then she
That's cool.
started that training for the education, which I did that first mentorship. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was amazing. I feel like I could go back through it like 3 times before I'm even like ready, you know, because she even has like a launching process in there. And
That's
I'm just
awesome.
like a little bit overwhelmed by like everything that goes into having an educational platform. I'm like, oh, wow.
It's so much more than you think.
Like I didn't realize all the work, right? And then you sit down, the really interesting part of one of her weeks was sitting down and, okay, how much more revenue can I bring in? And so sitting down, figuring out what you're going to charge for your classes, how many times are you going to offer it, how much time is it going to take from you, like all the things.
Smart, though. Very smart.
And it was great. So then I think I figured anywhere from, if I solely did that and it didn't really mess with what I did week to week, like with clients, I could probably launch a program like 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 times a year only, because the program's long. And then I could make an additional maybe 40,000-50,000 a year. So of profit. But I would be working constantly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So it's just like sitting with that.
Like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
Is now the right time? Yeah.
Yeah, and figuring out like, okay, can I edit that to fit in my life better? Because I didn't even think about, well, people have vacations, you know, and all that stuff. You're not going to be working during that time. So you can't start a program at that time of the year. If it's going to be a live program and you're going to be walking people through it and all of that stuff, you can't do it.
So how long is the program that you would?
She suggested not to do longer than 12 weeks because that's just like a huge program.
That's a commitment.
It's a commitment. And I think hers was 10 or 12, the mentorship, which I absolutely loved. I wish I was like in it now, but still going. But yeah, so I think I was trying to settle at 10. But the program that I was putting together was going to be for new artists, like a beginner artist, like everything you would literally need to know, like to be a more versatile artist.
And do you touch on the business aspect of it as well, as far as marketing?
Actually,
yourself?
no.
Yeah.
This is like straight up
Artistry.
technique
Just artistry.
in your face,
That's
like
it.
products, figuring out your kit, figuring out like everything.
Which it all needs to happen,
Yeah.
and you don't have anything to market until you have that squared away.
And I feel like what I would do for them for business is be like, go to buy Kaylee. She's got that whole mentorship for that, like set up for you, or just do the membership with her. She's got videos and everything walking you through everything.
Yeah,
You know.
you just leverage somebody else's.
That's exactly how I'm feeling right now. Because I'm like, I want to do it all, but like, I can't.
It's so much.
I can't. So I'm like, how do I leverage other people that I like and trust and I want to see them succeed? Like, how can we all leverage each other and like all build the community up together?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my idea of what I
Right?
wanted to do is like, so what revenue stream can I offer my girls as they progress and as they get further down the road? Because eventually they're probably not going to want to be doing as many weddings because they're stressful, right? So it's figuring out how to grow the business and try to help them too. So I really wanted to create a community where everybody like teaches their best, you know, thing
Skill
that they're
set,
good
yeah.
at, their skill set. You know, someone's better at natural makeup, then maybe they do some videos on
I
that.
was literally thinking of this the other day because I'm like, all my girls are like so afraid to like be the center of attention, and I'm like, you guys have it. You guys have it. You can teach it.
And you know who's really good, right?
I do.
You're
And
like,
I'm just
oh,
like,
they got
you're
the
good
skill.
at this. Like, but they're so afraid to like teach it, and I'm like, guys.
Is it more so because they're afraid somebody's going to take what they've taught?
No,
or
not at
just
all. They're just not confident.
camera shy.
Yeah.
Kinda? Okay.
But I'm like, I would love, like, in my new place, I'm like, we have this space now, and I would love, I mean, I want to start hosting classes, and like, but I don't want to be the one doing it. I want my team to do it. So I want them to step up and be like, okay, this is what I'm teaching today. And that they all rotate, taking turns, like, teaching. Because that's how I learn more teaching than I do actually doing.
Right.
Because I have to, like, know it well enough to speak it and do it. And I actually, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, if I can do that, y'all can do it.
They're always so scared about it. And I'm
So scared. I'm like, it's just a team. Calm
Yeah.
down. Like, no one, it's going to be fine.
It's not that scary necessarily. I feel like it's just like you have to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it at that moment. And a lot of people are not really great teachers. If you look at a lot of classes, you're like,
that's true.
okay, I'm just watching you. You're not really teaching me
or telling me
anything.
why.
Oh my God.
Anything.
I took
Yeah.
a class.
Talk to me about pressure. Talk to me about how you dip. Talk to me about like why you specifically use the brush in that manner. Like, is there a specific reason? You know, like tell me all the things, because that's how you really learn technique.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, especially because I used to be a nurse as well, and if that's what you said you were going to go into, but being in the nursing industry, like, you are literally teaching your patients how to live, how to,
crazy.
you know, get better and that sort of thing. So if you take and I tell my team this too, if you take yourself out of the mix and you're just there to help other people and add value, it comes so much easier than they're watching me, you know?
Oh, right.
They're not. They're watching your
about you.
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, they're just trying to they're trying to get better. So you're trying to help them get better. It changes the game. And people relax after that too. If you take yourself out of the mix of it, it's much easier.
Yeah.
Because no one really cares about you. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No, they're more about them, and they want to learn and they want to better themselves.
And walk away
I'm
with
all about that. I'm
something
happy about that.
valuable.
I want them to better themselves. And that's been kind of my whole thing with my team from the beginning too. It's like, this isn't just for me to, it's not about me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll even say, like, the team is not even possible without y'all. Period.
Literally.
Yeah.
So
You wouldn't have a business without your team.
it's not
Yeah.
just about me. Like, y'all are the team.
Right.
Period. Like, we wouldn't have a team without you. So I think they don't realize how important that is and how important it is working together as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you build that culture? Because I think that's the hardest part about bringing
It's
everybody
hard.
together.
It's hard because it becomes a competition between them, and you have to promote it to not be competition. We're slowly like getting there because a lot of the girls don't really want to post and like show their work and stuff, and I'm like,
Oh,
come
why?
on, like, do
That's
it.
crazy.
Like, just because they're busy and they're doing other things.
Yeah.
Like, this is more like a paycheck to them.
Yeah.
So trying to turn it into something that they enjoy and like that they feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Like, I did that. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll post it. Like, so I think that's more so where you have to do it and you have to encourage.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh my gosh, girl, like, that hair is amazing. I can't believe you even did that. Like,
Yeah.
you have to post it so people can see you did it, you know? I think that encouragement is really needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if they want more work, it's like, this is one of the trainings that I do with all my new girls. I'm like, okay, I train on how to take pictures and then the importance of a good photo, because you could have flawless work, and if the photo's trash,
It's no good.
no one's going to look at it.
No.
So I'm like, and in order to sell yourself, you have to have a portfolio of work, but you have to have good photos. And if you're going to take the good photos and you're going to take the time and energy to do that, you might as well put it on the internet or at least Pinterest or something and like create a file where everybody can see it. And they're getting into the habit of doing that now, but like in the
struggle.
in the beginning, all my girls were like, what? And then when I implemented that, they were like, ew, you know? And I'm like, no, don't look at it like that. Do not look at it like that. I promise you. And now they're like, okay, I got photos. They're not that great. We were rushing or whatever. And I'm like, but at least you're in the habit of getting good
Doing the
photos. now.
photos. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, and teaching people how to pose and like how to be confident in front of the camera. Like, it's kind of like psychology a little
whole
bit.
thing. So that's kind
I
of
have
where
like
we're
a
at.
15-minute video on it. Like,
Yeah.
like,
'Cause
yeah, it's important.
we only have a few members that really take the time, and then the other ones are just like, nah, I ain't got time for that. So now we're just trying to really push it more.
Do you send out like emails to your team like monthly or?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they would read it.
Yeah.
Mine act like they don't, but they all read it.
Yeah.
And I know, so I've recently started doing that, and it's been awesome. Whether it's like a new
Kinda like a
product I tried.
check-in.
Yeah, it's a check-in, and it's a way for us to kind of stay connected, and them to know that, hey, I am thinking about you. So like I do.
think I should probably start implementing.
It's great. I love it. And they don't say anything about it, but I know that they've read it and I know that they've clicked around and looked at the information because I can see what they've clicked on, which is really cool. And I'm like, team updates. I'm like, okay, we have a website, or we have this, or I have like these amenities for you now, and this is changing and that's changing, and it's like all good things, but it's like, how else can you effectively communicate that? I'm like, in an email. And it's got the links and it's got all the information. And then sometimes if it's like something that I want to feel personal, I'll record a video of myself explaining what the email is and like what's happening and why I'm excited, and I'll throw that in the email too. So it's like we're all in like a meeting kind of. Yeah, and I'm like, because I can't get people to get on a meeting with me. Like I can't get them to meet me in person because we're just too busy. So I'm like, how else can I build this?
You have to work outside of your time because everybody's on different time schedules anyway. So if they check it at 1 a.m, you know.
Yeah. Some are morning people, some are evening people, some are single.
Can't catch people.
Some have boyfriends, some are married with 4 kids. I'm like, it is all over the place. So I'm like, our schedules are just.
Yeah. So the best thing is like I found is the video, like because they can see your face, you can see, you know, versus a text or an email would be like
those can always get
kind of weird.
You know, always.
So I think the video is a great option.
It's been helpful. I think that I've gotten good feedback from that, and I'll like, you know, if I see something online, I'll like shoot it over on Instagram to the team. Or like they don't really like group text because those get out of control real quick.
Do y'all have like a Facebook group or anything?
No,
we do that, and I'll put like
I used to, but
I'll put like the videos and stuff in there that I find. I'm like, oh my gosh, did y'all see this makeup back with this little technique or whatever?
That's
like,
cool.
I kind of send stuff to certain people that I know are more interested, but then if it's something I'm like, oh my gosh, they have to see this, like I'll pull it and I'll put it on the group.
So
and
those are things I throw on my emails. Like I save a list and I'm like, okay, I want everyone to know this.
That may be better because I do have
like monthly.
I do have one girl that doesn't have social media.
Yeah, because. I can't,
It could be better.
I tried on Facebook and then I just got inundated with so many things. So I'm like, if I feel this way, how does my team feel?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. And I was like, email, you kind of have to check because it's like work related.
And if it's focused, like it's a few links or whatever, it's very focused, clip done.
It's a lot more organized. You're not like scrolling. Why did I get on Facebook again?
Yeah.
You're not like the rabbit hole. You're like, what was I here for?
Just kidding. And you just
an hour later, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's been great. I've implemented that about a year ago, and it's been awesome. So
try that. Yeah. I had been thinking about doing that for clients, not necessarily the email thing, but like
I do. It's
a
great.
Video like on the website and stuff.
Like a welcome.
Yeah, a welcome
Here's
email maybe with a video, and then
they don't read anything anymore.
No.
No.
They don't read anything.
They sure don't.
They sure don't.
It's got to be under 30 seconds, okay?
But I really want to try to niche down more because I feel like we get really strange clients.
Really?
I don't know if that's because we're a team or like just because we're the only team in Bryan College Station. Or like, I don't know.
Like clients that don't care, or they want like specific things that like aren't necessarily your niche.
Not necessarily our niche.
Got it. Yeah. They're like, they do
they're
makeup,
just weird.
whatever.
They're like, I don't want any makeup, but I want you to do my makeup. And I'm just like, is it because my name is naturally?
Yeah.
Like, what is coming from this, you know?
Maybe.
So I really want to do some videos to be like, these are the 3 main or the 4 main looks that we offer.
Like a lookbook, like a blow dry bar does and whatever. Yeah,
if this doesn't resonate with you, then maybe we're not the team for you, you know, or something. But
so I put on the bottom of my website, and I feel like this has helped a ton. So we did like a branding photo shoot, and it was like we did, you know, super clean, natural, soft glam, full glam. And so I put those like campaign images on my website, and I labeled them what they were.
Yeah.
1, Google really loved it, and 2, when people are looking, they're like, oh, well, I don't really like this, and that's what I see all the time, but I do like this. And so it shows that we have a wide variety of artists and like capabilities, and it's like right there. And then I also on my Instagram, you know how you can do like a highlight story. I know you don't like Instagram, but
no, Instagram's good. It's great for books.
It's a great for portfolio. That's what I use it for. Like someone told me a while ago that you should use Instagram as your second website, and that flipped everything for me. And I was like, got it. This is brand recognition. This is showing off my portfolio and be an information source. And I was like, okay, that's how I'm going to utilize it. And once I swapped from like, oh, this is me to like, this is my second website, it's been like game changer. And I feel like it's just been like
I have to think of it
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But so I've done that, and then I'm going to create highlight stories of like, okay, these are all natural. These are this type of look, this is type of look. So it's kind of like a lookbook, but they can just tap through it.
Yeah, easily.
I did it on Pinterest years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, and that's been awesome. But like people really aren't on Pinterest as much as they they are on Instagram.
True.
So I basically just transferred that over to Instagram.
Plus,
But it's
have you seen the
What?
Pinterest lately?
What
I got
happened?
on there recently because I feel like I've been on there a lot.
yeah.
AI. Every single thing is AI.
Yeah.
I was like,
Like,
when
They're
did
bringing
it
in
switch?
pictures.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't really scroll though. I just go there and post. So I'm like, I haven't like, I'm not a scroller there.
Yeah, so if you like soft glam makeup, boom, like 10 AI pictures, number one.
Oh no.
I've gotten a lot of people
Maybe I should
coming in
label
for
my
their trials.
non-AI soft glam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real women.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna try. I'll let y'all know how it works.
Yeah.
Real woman makeup.
Yeah.
Reality.
I've gotten a lot of
so
people
sad.
bringing those into their trials, and I'm like, this is a really nice drawing, but this is not
Drawing.
a real person.
I mean, literally, that's what it is. It's a digital drawing.
That's what it is. And I'm like,
That's
that's,
so sad.
I used to be like, okay, if they had extensions, you're like, that's not their real hair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's not a real person. You know, like,
It's so sad.
it's
though.
getting really sad.
Well, I think that has
The
a lot.
expectation is like,
Yeah, the expectation's really
I'm
crazy.
sorry, I have to break down your expectations right now.
It's not going to look like this.
Reality.
So how do you like teach your team how to handle typical situations like that? Like either a client it just does not love themselves and they're not going to love anything you do anyway, right?
I think you really have to be honest and voice that. Like, and then
But
you
some
have,
people
you
just
know,
can't.
I know.
They're like,
it's really hard.
It's
and then they
hard.
just take
Well,
it personal and cry in their
yeah.
car on the way home. I'm
Other
like,
than
oh, no.
that, maybe if you had a video for the client that's just like
Yeah.
very honest, maybe.
And head that up before they even get in contact with your artist.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
that might help. Because then
Yeah.
if, you know, if everybody doesn't feel comfortable doing it, at least the client will see something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you've been
You
doing
can talk
this a
about
lot
the
longer
AI.
than them.
Right.
And so
This
you're
is
probably
a lot.
very comfortable,
I
like,
should do a video on that.
addressing
That's a
it.
great idea. Like, this is not real.
And-
this is real.
You know, you could make
She
it
has
a
peach fuzz and
you could make it a reel.
mustache. No.
force,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then just link the reel.
That's a good
in
idea.
In a
Email.
email. Yeah.
Yeah. So I recently, well, about a year ago, I made a bridesmaids page on my website. It's hidden. So it's a page on my website that has all pricing,
Oh,
so they know exactly what they're supposed to be paying, right? I don't know. They handle all that between the bride and the bridesmaids. But it has a link to our portfolio. Whoever, all of our artists are on our team, all their portfolios, and then it also has a link to like this is how you prepare for the wedding day. Wash your hair, do this, do that, do that, and then I have a link to like a blog post
So you
that's
can
got
access it.
a link to like purchase the products, a video, a detailed video of me actually doing what I'm asking them to do. So if they're a visual learner, if they're a reader, or if they are just like a shopper,
You got every
I have
aspect.
literally every aspect
That's
on
good.
there.
Yeah.
And it has been super helpful with like clients showing up prepared because all the work's done for them. And like
a
the
nice
bride
thought.
doesn't have to like do it. She just like sends them the page and it's a quick link and then it's all there. And it's been, I think now I'm not dealing with a lot of the issues that I was dealing with, like people not being prepared. And then if they're not prepared, then the artist has a really hard time doing their job correctly.
Yeah.
Because they're not given the tools to do their job right. And it's like, if you do the legwork first for your artist, it
Collect the
alleviates
information. Yep.
all of the issues a lot of people that run into when they're managing a team.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna write that down in my
it's-
book.
It's so good. No, it has been like, and I will say that because almost 90, like most of my girls go work for other companies. They have their own company, and they're like, "This is your brides. I just know, like, it's gonna be a good day." And I'm like, thank you, thank you so much." They're like, your brides are a dream," and I was like, "They are a dream because I have coached them to be a dream."
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a lot of legwork that you guys don't see. And
Yeah.
so when I like launch something new like that, I'm like, hey guys, this is what we're implementing.
Yeah.
This is
So
what's
they
happening.
know.
Like, I'm rooting for you and I'm doing my best to make sure that you're happy, but also like help me help you.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any issues we need to address?
Yeah, so like if there's anything happening that you guys are seeing going on in the industry or like what's changing with the brides and like, okay, how do we fix these problems before they get worse?
That's a
So
great
I'm
idea.
like, you guys got to tell me, like, help me help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been really good. And so it's just been like, we've got a rock solid team right now.
That's good. I think another thing with the industry is just what are the red flags
Yeah. I was going to
for
ask
not
you.
hiring a
Yeah.
client?
Yeah, do you have a couple
Yeah.
of those? Because I got a few.
So we had
Emily has a
yeah,
few.
Yeah.
we
Show
had a
them.
really bad client at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
I would say the worst out of all 12 years.
No, this year I had, same thing.
And that she wasn't even the bride.
Oh no.
She was the mom.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Check.
She was paying for everything.
Yeah.
You know, so she thought she was the client.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, all of the services were loved.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no issues with the service.
Oh, okay.
But she really had it in for me. I mean, just like hated our process and how we onboarded our clients and everything. Like we operate through email and all of that. So we have written
Yeah, you have proof.
confirmation, all of that.
Yeah.
No, that's not how you should run your company. Like
What?
you're very unprofessional.
Oh my gosh.
You can go on and read her review. It's on Google.
Oh, she wrote a review?
I'm so sorry.
But I feel like I had a good response to it.
Good.
If you read the response, but my response is long and it's halfway to her and halfway to our future clients because she was just like,
Jeez.
don't book them. They don't care about you. Like all this stuff in her. I was like, excuse me? I mean, like this is somebody that I had an hour and a half phone call with after she finally told me that something
old
was
is
going
she?
on.
Like
Yeah.
60s?
I was like, yeah, probably. It's an age thing.
Yeah, because they don't like technology and they weren't
Yeah.
raised with the technology that we were raised with. So, like, we're used to it. We understand it. We understand how important it is, how streamlined and easy it is. But for them, they're like, no, I want to do everything over the phone. And you're like,
You
sure,
can't
but
do
like,
that for every single client.
God, no, there's no
And
way.
every single client doesn't want that. They want to be up at 1 a.m. and get their
Booking
stuff
their
booked.
appointments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't bug me. I just
Yeah.
want to read all the stuff and go through it, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I have an option to where if they do want to have a phone call, because I don't even put my phone number
Yeah.
on my
you
site.
don't?
No,
I do.
I don't. No, you have
We
to
have
pay
a
me to
Google
get my
number
phone
now.
number.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's funny.
No,
That's
I'm
good,
like,
though.
I don't answer, but I'm like, you can leave me a voicemail. And
Yeah.
usually I'll text back and be like, hey, thanks so much. I got your voicemail. You can schedule a phone consultation here.
Yeah.
So that way it works for both of us.
Yeah,
That's good, yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what it is. I mean, my life is so crazy, got so much
Yeah,
going
I
on.
mean, we all
Like
do, yeah.
I can't just answer a phone. So they have an option on the website.
If they want to hear dogs barking and kids screaming in the back, I'm like, hello?
Yeah,
No, we're not doing
Yeah.
that. So unprofessional.
But we can schedule a time, and
Yeah.
I make sure it's like I'm solely focused on them or
Yeah.
whatever, so that they get the experience that I want to give.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But no, I'm just not going to have my phone
That's crazy.
everywhere I go. No,
accessible
sorry,
24/7.
no.
There's got to be boundaries. There
Yeah.
really has to be.
Now, if somebody, like I said, if they paid me and we are,
Yeah.
booked or reserved or whatever, they have my direct line because if anything happens, they need it. But until then,
Yeah.
you got to
Okay,
go through a process, girl.
Yeah.
So, like, moving forward, I know that you started with massage and then body paint and then makeup, and now you've created a team, and now you have salon suites. Like, what is next for you?
Really, education.
Yeah.
Is the focus.
Cool.
I don't really have anything else to do other than that. The issue is with the team, and it's been the issue over however many years, is that I get bogged down.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it prevents me from furthering myself. And so I've gone through thoughts of like, do I even
Ditch
wanna
the team and
this
just do it.
anymore? Like, I don't think I ever
Any
would.
good leader has thought that, okay?
I think any
good
leader I saw that, but just so everybody knows,
Yeah.
it's not all butterflies and rainbows.
No,
Right.
never.
There's a lot that goes on behind
Yeah.
the scenes.
Well, you're dealing with people's in their messy lives.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, you're just dealing with a lot of
and
people
it's not
in
just
their lives.
it's not just the contractors; it's the clients too.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and then I know
We all have a little
yeah.
PTSD from some clients. we should have an episode on that because that's
Maybe
a
we
real
shouldn't.
thing.
Let's therapy.
Let's not think about
We
it.
should bring a therapist in.
Yeah, for
Block
real.
it out. Block it out.
Be like, so how do
I
deal
think
with a psychiatrist and a therapist?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I got a couple. I know a couple.
I think we
Just
should
kidding.
have the opportunity to review clients as well.
Well, I'm
could be
trying to
like
think
real
like
talk.
what is acceptable to ask the client to know that they're not a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're
Sometimes
booking.
you don't know. 'Cause
Sometimes
they're
you don't
raging
know.
narcissists.
But
That's not funny. It's not funny. Okay.
really, when we had that issue,
Was she a last minute booking?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
it was that
Yeah.
too. It was that
Always.
too.
And you
But
feel bad and you want to help them because you're nice and you're kind. And you're like, well, we got a team. They got to eat. You got to eat. Like, But then it's like, oh my God, why?
Wish
did I
you would
do
have never
this?
taken them on.
Mhm.
But me and my booking coordinator assistant, like we sat down, we really talked about it, and I was just like, what are the red flags? Like, what?
Yeah.
And so I think just because we had that thought and we really thought about like what happened with her, we had another one come in the fall, or I think it was like around August, and she called me and she's like, I don't think we should take this client. She's like, we can take her, but
I don't think we should.
I don't think we should.
I think
Like,
we should
she's
just
showing
trust
me enough red flags here that I just don't think it's for us.
Yeah.
And so we told them no. And
Good.
sure enough, they came back all pissed off and everything.
Sure.
And we're like, yep, that was a red flag. We made
Like,
that
you're a
decision.
bitch.
So I think just like,
It's
I don't know
better
if you
for
do
them to be
your-
mad before. Do it.
do you do your own booking? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have an assistant, but like I'm ultimately the sole decision maker. She will not send contract and invoice. Like she takes all the quotes and like manages the day-to-day stuff, but I'm ultimately like the one sending out contracts
Okay.
and collecting money. I would like to pass it off, but I just can't.
You need to.
I'm like, that's another expense. So I'm like, let me just pump the brakes on
Well,
this
and
for a
then you
second.
lose like your thumb on the
Yeah.
pulse a little bit. I feel like.
It has to be someone you really trust.
So I
Right,
did,
yeah.
and they messed it up a little bit, and I
Yeah,
was like,
you're
you
like,
know what?
"Nope."
I'm not ready. So I don't think I was ready, and I didn't have all of my systems in place in order to effectively pass it off to
Yeah.
somebody so they don't fuck it up. But
True.
that wasn't the case, and I was like, I know I'm not ready to pass this off yet, and I've passed off so much other stuff on my plate that I'm like, I'm good. I can manage this
Yeah.
right now, and it's fine. And then eventually, once that's all like perfectly managed by somebody, then my next step is to have someone manage my bookings and my like contracts. But like for the day-to-day like quick stuff, like most of it's automated.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's not
doing most of the back end work right now.
Yeah. So what are
Nice.
the red flags that kind of just bringing it to a close?
We've been talking.
What are some of the red flags that you're like, oh no, we will not
I
move
think
forward?
verbal language, like you can really tell if they're pushing a lot,
Or
that-
aggressive.
aggressive,
Yeah.
and that they don't want to go through your process. That maybe it's not a fit. Because if your process doesn't align with them to begin with, or maybe you should come back and be like, well, this is the process that we're going to be going through. If this isn't really the process
Yeah.
that you're going to want to do, then maybe we're not the right company for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would have helped. The only issue with that client is the bride would have suffered.
Yeah.
And maybe before we even started, we could have fired her.
Yeah.
But guess what? The bride would
Did
have
you have
suffered.
any conversation with the bride herself?
Me
before?
specifically, no. But when she came in for like her trial and even wedding day, because I wasn't even doing that wedding. The
It's your
girls,
team, yeah.
the girls talked to her, and yeah, she knew. She knew that her mom was a huge red flag.
Really?
Yeah, which
They'll usually tell you.
I wish she would have been honest with us about it and like
Oh,
done
my
something
clients
to
are.
help, but she didn't. I guess she just couldn't. You know, when you've dealt with that all your life, like
Yeah.
it's
You
terrible.
just cope however. you can.
so it was just a mess. But like she was happy.
Well, that's good.
The mom wasn't, but
Well, Jesus Christ can't please some people, like
Yeah.
himself couldn't do that. So that's the
Her poor husband.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
and well, I don't know if that was the issue or not, but I would say the other
I'm
thing,
dealing with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, her poor man.
yeah, the last minute booking.
Last minute.
That's another
booking.
red flag.
That's what it is.
What else? What else can you think about?
You know, I will say though, like a lot of these last minutes is like they didn't do their homework when they booked,
Yeah.
and they got canceled on, and they got shit on a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
so
so,
I
I'm
always
like, I empathize with
evaluate
them.
the story.
I'm like,
yeah.
hey, so what
what's
happened?
the deal?
No, that's usually what I ask.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you have somebody? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or you just like last minute don't
Like,
know.
do you just not have your shit together?
Right.
What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah. That's my process too.
A lot of the last minute bookings I've had lately is they like we're gonna have a family member. They did a trial and it was awful. They did another trial, it was awful. Did another trial and they're like, all right, never mind. And then they booked us.
Well, then they see the value. Of
and they're like, oh, okay, yeah,
do
you
this
are
for
worth
a living.
it.
You're
Yeah.
professional. You know what
Right.
you're doing.
Well,
yeah.
because usually they're like trying to cut costs, right? And then they're like, oh wait, no, I don't want to look like crap. So I'll just pay whatever because it is worth it at that
we are
point.
one of the most important vendors.
I
to
agree.
look
I mean, we're
good.
biased, but like at the
Well,
end of
no.
the day, it's
Like-
about you, your marriage, and how you look and feel.
I know, and I understand
Well,
the whole.
but-
It's a luxury service. Like I get
Yeah.
it. It is a luxury service. You're going to get a luxury experience.
Yeah.
However, it is completely necessary, completely essential for
Yeah.
you to love your photos, feel comfortable, feel gorgeous on the most important day of your life. Like it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No one cares about like the
So-
little details that you thought of.
Right.
They're not going to remember that in 20 years.
Right.
They're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
it was such a beautiful ceremony, and like she looked beautiful, and whatever.
Yeah.
The other red flag for me is that someone who doesn't want to pay, like
Yeah.
they are dragging their feet on actually
Yes.
paying. And we have our process is they do the retainer fee, which is the 50% at the time of booking, and then 30 days out is the remainder
Mm-hmm.
because
how
they
you
run
do
out
it?
of money after that.
And then we actually do it 2 weeks before the wedding, but
Mhm.
it should
Girl,
be
push
further
it,
out.
push
but-
it 30.
Yeah, because if they do like
They
30
be making
days,
changes. Too many changes.
Well, that's why we do it that way, because we let them change up until a month.
Mm.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then,
Maybe say 45 days up to changes, and then 30 days, and then you're not have to like deal with.
You don't have to
like,
worry
last
about
minute.
it,
Mhm.
and that helps your cash flow so much better.
Mhm.
yeah, true.
So much better.
Try it. Maybe for 2025, you know?
Yeah.
Like all bookings from starting here on.
I always kind of run it through Brett. She's the booking coordinator and everything.
Yeah,
she
she goes
handles all
first.
contracts and everything.
Oh,
She-
nice.
The best thing about Brett is she's a wedding planner. So like,
Oh, she gets
in the
it. Yeah,
industry,
yeah.
she understands. She's like, I wasn't hired.
I need a Brett.
She's
Help
amazing.
Me find a Brett.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do without her, honestly.
That's
Really.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot to manage. You got a large team.
Yeah.
You know, and you're still doing services and stuff. So, okay. So
Awesome.
to wrap it up, then let's get one tip for somebody who's wanting to break into the industry. What you would advise them to do?
I would advise them to do research.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what kind of artist they want to be
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and how they want to break into the industry
Mm-hmm.
before they just, figure out, like, have like an organized thought
Mm-hmm.
before
Smart.
you just jump in and
Yeah.
then jump in hard
Mm.
with that thought,
Full force.
full force.
I love
Yeah.
it.
I love that.
Awesome.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming
This
in.
was
And
nice.
until next time, I appreciate you so much. Appreciate your story, your insights, and your advice. So, thank you again.
Yes, it was great being here.
Right. Cool.